All right, so my name is Justin Storr. I'm the IT security architect. I've been in this position for about the last year at Michigan Tech. Before that, I worked with Upper Peninsula credit unions, helping them secure their networks. I was the director of IT for Michigan Tech Employees Federal Credit Union for 5 years prior to working here. And I'm going to talk about some online security essentials today. This presentation is being recorded, and so if you have, or if you want the recording or the slides, you can feel free to email me. And I think we might be able to send that out to everybody too when we do the evaluations. So I'm going to cover online security essentials, which is what I consider to be the most important things that you need to know about staying secure online, how to protect your information. And the goal of this presentation is to make it focus on the information that you need to know, but also show you how to do it. So it's not just talking about it, it's showing you how in just a few minutes you can go through and lock down your accounts and help lock down your computer as well. So the topics that we're going to cover today are phishing attacks. So these are email-based attacks, what they are, how you can identify them, and how to report them. We're going to cover malicious websites, what those are, how you can identify them, and how to report them. We're going to cover online accounts, so how you can lock down your accounts to prevent other people from logging into them, but also how to prevent your information from being shared more widely than you would like. We'll also cover best practices for creating, storing, managing passwords. And we'll talk about how to secure your devices and harden them to make them more resilient to online threats. And then at the end, as time allows, we'll have questions and answers. So to dive right in, phishing attacks. So a phishing attack, which is an email designed to trick you into taking action. It's usually action that's not in your best interest, and that kind of action is usually going to be clicking on a link, logging into a website, which is usually after you click on the link, and then opening an attachment. So those are the three things that email usually try and get you to do. Occasionally they'll try and get you to call a number or reach out to them. So everybody here should have a handout, and we're going to kind of go through that handout here in a little bit of detail. But before we do so, I'm going to cover the 5 red flags to look out for in phishing attacks. So the first is if the email is unexpected. If you don't have an account at Amazon.com, you shouldn't be getting an email from Amazon.com. You should know that that's fraudulent. If the email comes from an unexpected sender. For example, in this example where we're looking at Amazon, Amazon should send you an email from like sales@amazon.com or accounts@amazon.com, something like that. So if you see like Amazon@hotmail.com or joeshmo@hotmail.com or Amazon@mtu.edu, none of those are anything that Amazon would ever use. They would always use @amazon.com. Okay, we also want to, another red flag is to look for links in an email that go to an unexpected site. So I'll cover how to check that in just a moment. But if you hover over these links, you can actually see where they go, and if they're not going to Amazon.com, you wouldn't want to click on them. So I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. Also, if email has a sense of urgency, a lot of times there will be an email scam that'll say, you know, if you don't respond to this or click on this link, we're going to submit your information to the IRS or file a complaint. Anytime you get an email that if it seems like it wants you to take action right now and you feel like you need to, that should be kind of a red flag to actually slow down and do the opposite and say, well, maybe they're trying to trick me here. Maybe I can forward this to IT and they can check and see if the email is legitimate. So anytime you think you need to act now, chances are you need to do the exact opposite, and that should be a red flag. And the last one is if the email is generic, not customized for you. So I'll go through all of these here again as we walk through this handout. So in the top left, we have an unexpected sender. In this case, the email is coming from Amazon@mtu.edu. Again, you would see sales@amazon.com instead. That should be a dead giveaway. Email is also generic. So that's what I meant by generic. It doesn't say hello Justin, it just says hello or hello customer. And the reason for that is if I have, say I have email addresses for 1,000 people that I know are Amazon customers, I can send them all one generic email that says hello, click on this link below, and I don't know all their different names. Amazon knows all their different names, so they'll send out customized messages for every single person. So when you see that generic dear user or just hello without your name in it from a source that normally would have your name, that should be a red flag as well, so being generic. And then this email is unexpected if you didn't shop at Amazon, if you didn't have a recent purchase, or if you had a purchase but it didn't total to $793.10. So that's where that email would be unexpected. And some people think, oh, I don't remember putting that purchase. I'm going to click view and manage the order to see what this order is about without actually thinking about this could be a scam. So how you can check that is you can hover check your links. And any link in any email or any web page, on any browser, even your phone, if you put your mouse over here on the phone, you'd actually just click and hold for a second, it'll pop up And every browser in the bottom left can say where that link actually goes. So in this case, if you actually hovered over these links, these are actually legitimate, and they would say Amazon.com because the hacker doesn't think they're actually going to click on these ones. But when you hover over this link, you'll see it goes to Amazon.hacker.com, and that would be a dead giveaway that, hey, this link isn't going to go where I think it should go. And then for the sense of urgency, in this one it says valid payment must be received within 24 hours, otherwise your order will be canceled. It's a little bit of urgency, but not as much as some of the other ones that say, you need to click on this within 3 hours or your account's going to be shut off, or we're going to submit your information to the IRS, those kind of type things. And they try and get you to get that sense of panic and hope that well, let's fix the problem right away. And instead, you end up giving even more information. So that's how to identify the red flags. I'm trying to go through this a little bit quicker than this morning because we were running a little bit short on time. But once you know how to identify it, how do you report it? So there's two different ways of reporting it. Both are very important. The first one is within Gmail, you click the drop down that you would use to reply or forward your message. Just forward it to it-help@mtu.edu. That'll open a ticket. Usually within a half hour or less, you'll get a response that says, thank you for reporting this phishing attempt. We've taken steps to secure our network. Please mark it as phishing in Gmail. And we prefer as many people as possible to submit that because sometimes these phishing attacks only go to 5, 10, 15 people, and we won't know about it unless at least one of those people reports it. Sometimes they go to thousands, sometimes they only go to a few, sometimes they're targeted towards a specific department, say HR specifically or IT specifically. So please forward them to it-help@mtu.edu. Again, you usually will just get a generic response back, but that lets you know that we saw your email and we're looking for more of those. And then afterwards, you do that same drop down and report as phishing. That'll report it to Google. Now, this is different from reporting spam and phishing. Spam email is just junk email. Phishing email is like scam, fraud, targeting you, trying to get you to have take over your account or get information out of you. So if you report as phishing, the more people that report as phishing, the more people at Google will actually look at it, and if Google says it is phishing, they will go and remove that message from everybody else's mailbox. So say at 9 o'clock, 1,000 emails go out, and you happen to be logged in, you get it right away, you say, oh, this is clearly phishing, report as phishing, a couple other people do that, and a few minutes later, everybody else who maybe haven't even logged into their email yet, that message won't even be there by the time they log in. So by reporting to phishing, you can help us make sure that other people aren't falling for it. Another thing to note is in some cases Google will notice it's phishing ahead of you, and they'll put, they might not remove it, they'll put a red bar across the top of the message. So if you see that red bar, that's Google's own red flag to let you know, hey, this is probably phishing, just based on our algorithm, we think it probably is, so keep an eye out for that. And that's a little bit different than there's also the display messages bar, which isn't in red, or display images, excuse me. So that's, a lot of people are used to seeing that, do you want to display these images? The reason that's in the email is once you click display images, it'll actually go grab that image from their server, and what they can do is when they see you grab that image, that's their way of tracking that you opened the email. So if you open the email and it grabs the image from their server, they go, oh, this person opened the email. So that's the reason why it says, do you want to display these images? Because it's saying, do you want to let whoever sent you this, let them know that you opened their message. But there's nothing wrong with actually doing that. It's when you see the red bar that's saying this might be phishing, that's when you should really be looking out for, hey, this email might be trying to trick me. So again, if you get the phishing email, please forward it to IT Help, and please report it to Google. That helps us and helps everybody, all the other users at Michigan Tech, so there's less likely to fall for it. So that covers the phishing attacks, which on the the original notification, the talk was titled "Don't Take the Bait," which is focused on those phishing attacks. But the title is a little bit different because we have more things to cover than just phishing. And malicious websites ties directly into phishing because a lot of these phishing attacks send you to a malicious website. So malicious websites, they usually try to do three main things. One, they can try and infect your system. So you click on the link in the email, it just tries to attack you directly, see if your system has any weaknesses that it can take over your system. What you can do to stop that, stop it from infecting your system, is to harden your system, which we'll talk about just a little bit, make your system more resilient to those kind of attacks. The malicious website could also try and get you to communicate via phone or email. So sometimes we'll see this where you go to a site and it pulls up a pop-up and you can't really click out of it, and it says, please call this number, you might be infected. And they try and get you on the phone so they can get you to, say, pay for an antivirus that's not a real antivirus, or some way to get your credit card information or more information from you, or you can get access to your computer. And the other thing that they try and do is steal your username, password, or other sensitive information. So our most common one is you get a link to a fake email to Amazon or BandWeb or one of Michigan Tech systems, and they said, please log in. And if you don't look at that website and verify it's legitimate, when you type in your username and password, that username and password goes straight to the attackers. Now they have your Michigan Tech username and password. They try and log into our systems here and access more information. So outside of hardening your system to prevent it from being infected, you can minimize surfing and use sites that you know and trust. So the more you surf around and find random sites, the more likely you are to find one that's malicious. But you can also, if you're visiting a new site, there's a site called MyWOT, which is My Web of Trust. They have a Chrome browser extension, and you can go to their site directly and type in on Facebook.com, and it'll give you a score of green, yellow, or red. Green means the site is known to be reputable. Orange is we haven't seen this a whole lot or nobody's reported on it, so we're not really sure. And red is it's just known to be a bad site. So if you wanted to, you can even get a Chrome extension that'll plug in, and when you do a Google search, it'll actually put a green, yellow, or red dot next to all the search results, and let you know which sites that it knows are trustworthy, which ones aren't, and which ones may or may not be. And you can also just Google any site that you want to try, Google it and type reputation afterwards, and there's lots of other reputation sites that'll keep track of sites on the internet and help track which ones are malicious. And then one of the most important things you can do is verify the identity of the site you visit. Also, if accessing your bookmarks helps, what I mean by this is if you get an email that says log in your BandWeb to update your payroll information, instead of clicking the link that's in the email, go to your bookmark where you have BandWeb bookmark, because you know where your bookmark goes, and it's going to go to the true BandWeb. So that email and that link could go to anywhere. So common sites I use all the time, we recommend saving them as a bookmark or favorite, and then just logging in via those all the time. So how do you verify the identity of a site? So after you clicked on the link, let's say you didn't hover check on it, because if you hover checked it, you would have saw that it was going to go to amazon.hacker.com. Say you didn't hover check on it, you clicked on that link, or you stumbled across a web page, and it's going to ask you to either log in or put your credit card or social security number or something sensitive. Anytime you're entering sensitive information on a website, you should check to make sure the site is secure and it says who it says it is. So I'm kind of looking at things in reverse order. The first thing you're going to want to check is the domain, or is this section in black? You'll see it grayed out on both sides of it, but in the browser they kind of make this stand out a little bit more. Is this the site I want to go to? So if it said amazon.hacker.com, you wouldn't want to go there. If it says www.amazon.com, you say, okay, this is who the site is saying that it is. So this site says it's amazon.hacker.com. This site says it's amazon.com. Now, all that's telling you is what the site says it is. To prove that the site's not lying, we check to make sure that it's using HTTPS and it's green. So we're looking for the green HTTPS indicator. In this case, if this was www.amazon.com and there was no HTTPS and green, that would mean that the site is saying it's amazon.com, but it can't prove it. In this case, it is green, it does HTTPS, so not only is it amazon.com, but it's proving that it's amazon.com. So in combination of those, that's when you want to check your site. You also have this padlock, which usually goes in line with padlock you usually see anytime you have HTTPS and green, and you also have the icon, which in some cases the fake sites don't do a good job at copying the icon over the tab. Those are another giveaway, but really the main thing is looking for the domain and the HTTPS and green.
I might just be going colorblind at my old age, but the green isn't showing up very green in here, but that top HTTPS should be a nice green.
Yeah, the projector colors are a little bit off. As you can tell, like the yellow is really bright and there's some of these faded. So this is actually green. I know it kind of looks grayish right now. It's just the projector. It looks a lot more green on my screen. But all browsers support that. Even your phone should be green, and you can hit CS HTTPS. But really, checking for this and hover checking the link would prevent 95% or more of the phishing attacks that we see on campus. So that's why those are the two big takeaways for looking out for threats and email on websites is hover checking the links and verifying that the page is something that makes sense. A lot of times you might see if they're mimicking BandWeb, they might say bandweb. Something other than mtu.edu. So if you're looking for a Michigan Tech thing, make sure you're looking for the mtu.edu at the end of it. That should indicate that it's a site that we control. So that's verifying. So that's covering phishing attacks and malicious websites. Now I want to dive into the online accounts. So this is how you can lock down your accounts to prevent unauthorized access. So somebody else logging into your account. and limit the information that you give out on those sites. We're going to use Google and Facebook as examples. So to help lock down your accounts, on a lot of online sites, they have options to review your security and privacy settings. You should always use a strong password that is unique to that site, something that people aren't going to guess, or a common password. You should also use multi-factor authentication. We're going to talk about that on multiple slides here. Multi-factor authentication is the best way to prevent somebody else from logging into your account. And what multi-factor authentication is a combination of factors that you use to log in. So one factor is something you know, which is your username and password. So you log in using your username and password. Before it gets you into your account, you can either set it up to send you like a text message to your phone with a PIN number that you have to enter, or you can have an app where it'll say, hey, are you trying to log in and you want to prove it? By doing that, it makes sure that you have to have your phone in order to log in. Now, so that's the second factor. First factor is something you know, your password. Second factor is something you have, your phone. And without your phone, even if you have your username and password, nobody can log into your account. Now, some people say that can be inconvenient, but what Google does and a lot of other sites do is you have the option to remember your device for 30 days. So you log in your computer at work to your Google account, you type in your username and password, you get a message on your phone, you type in the PIN, remember for 30 days. You don't have to do that for the next 30 days because it trusts your device now. If you log in from someplace else on another computer, it won't have that, so it'll ask them. That way it's once every 30 days per device, so that way you're not having to do it all the time, but you still get that same protection on your account. So multi-factor authentication, the best way to prevent other people from getting access to your account. And then you should also understand the terms and service and privacy policy associated with your websites. So Facebook and Google are free. The way they manage that is because they have advertising on there, but they also can use your information and fine-tune their services. So anytime you're getting a free service, usually those sites are gathering information on you or targeting you with ads. And we'll kind of cover that in just a second. So in the example of Google, how you can do the security checkup, and they have, let me back up here. If you go to myaccount.google.com, you will see a page that shows this, and you'll have the security checkup get started and the privacy checkup get started. It only takes a minute or two to go through each of them, and they can help you lock down your account. So in the security checkup, you can set up a recovery phone number. This is you forget your password, you get locked out of your account, you say reset my password, they'll send you that text message to your phone with a PIN, you enter that PIN in, and it allows you to reset your password and you get access to your account again. So if you get locked out, that's a great way. I don't recommend email address as much because if, say you have Hotmail as a backup email address or Yahoo or something like that, well, if I get access to your Hotmail or Yahoo, then I can use that to reset your Gmail. It's still just using a password. Having your phone is something that you have is a much more secure method for recovery. You can also check which devices are connected to your account. So as you go through the security checkup, there's a page. It'll say, hey, you're going to set your phone for recovery. Hit next. Here's the devices that are connected to your account. Next, and they'll go through each of these for you. But you can check to see if there's some device that you don't recognize in there, which may indicate that somebody else on their device is logged into your account. And then you would know, hey, somebody logged into my account, so they must have my password. Let me reset my password. That will prevent them from logging back into my account. You can also check which apps have permission to your account. So this would be any websites that, have you seen the websites that say, do you want to log in with your Google account? Well, when you log into a Google account, it usually gives that website some access to your Google. For example, I use a website that does diagrams and drawings, and I allow it to save those on my Google Drive. So that website has access to my Google Drive in order to save files and open files from there. So you can also go through that list and see if there's sites that you log into at some point you don't use anymore. Maybe they don't need permission to your Google account anymore. And the last thing in the security check is two-step verification, which is Google's name for multi-factor authentication. I highly recommend you set it up. That's where, again, where you log in every 30 days on your phone. You can download the Google app and say yes or no when you log in, or you can just have a text message sent to your phone and punch in for that second factor. So that's all available on Google. All you have to do is go to myaccount.google.com, put the security checkup, and it'll walk you through that as a wizard. And you can also do the privacy checkup while you're there. Privacy checkup will let you manage what you share on YouTube, how people can Google and find your Google account, manage what you share on your Google Plus profile, and manage what activity Google records and saves. So some people don't know this, but your Google account has a Google Plus profile associated with it. It's kind of like a social media, Facebook type thing. And some things may be listed on there as activity by default, and you might not even know that it's going there. And likewise, Google will record every time you like a video on YouTube, subscribe to a YouTube channel, search on YouTube, search on Google. Every one of those searches and activities is recorded, but you can go in here and tell them to turn that off if you don't want to. There are some benefits to having it on. They'll target your ads more towards what you want, and that's beneficial for them. If you want more targeted ads, the ads that are more relevant to you, there's that. But if you don't want Google to track that, you can go and turn that off. So just an option for to limit what information you're sharing with Google. And then we'll cover the terms of service and privacy policy. Before I cover this, there should be an important keynote is this is the privacy policy and terms of service for a regular Gmail account that you sign up for free. This is different than Michigan Tech's Gmail accounts. We have a business partnership agreement with Google that says you can't data mine our information and you don't have the ability to resell or republish our information. So that we maintain control of our information. If you're at mtu.edu, it's under Michigan Tech's ownership. If not, if you have at gmail.com, then Google's terms of service says that when you upload, submit, store, send, or receive any content through their services, you give Google and those that Google works with a license to use, host, store, reproduce, modify, create derivative works, communicate, publish, publicly perform, publicly display, and distribute such content. So what that basically means is anything that you put in Google that on a normal Gmail account, they can use for publishing, they can redistribute it, they can pretty much do what they want with the limited purpose of operating, promoting, and improving their services or developing new ones. And this license continues even if you stop using their services. So that's, again, one of the trade-offs for having a free service like Gmail. The privacy policy also states that we collect information in the following ways. Information you give us, so that would be like your phone number, any information you enter about your account, but also information we get from you using our services, such as your device information, where you're logging in from, your location, unique numbers associated with your account. They have the ability to store stuff on your computer, such as cookies and similar technologies, which are used for tracking and for making sure that the ads you get across any site that uses Google Ads, you get that same consistent ad experience through all those sites. But just kind of understanding what they do with your information is important because all pages or all online sites are a little bit different. But usually they have this in a relatively short one-page, check out their privacy, check out the terms of service, and it's usually spelled out pretty easily. It's not like the iTunes agreement where you have 40 pages of text to read through. You can usually, browse through this in a minute or two and get an idea of what they're doing with your information. Again, this is different from Michigan Tech because we do own that data based on our business partnership agreement with Google. And I want to briefly cover some of the settings that Facebook offers. If you go in the security and login settings, you also can check where your account's been logged in from, so it'll tell you which city and states. If there's any ones in there that you don't recognize, again, somebody probably has your password, go in there and reset your password. You can turn on alerts when unrecognized devices log in. This is pretty cool because anytime you log into your Facebook account with a new computer or a new device, you'll get an email saying, hey, you logged in for a new device. And then once all your devices are been logged in, you won't get any more of those unless it's from somebody who shouldn't be logging into your account. So that way you can monitor if somebody else connects to your account. They'll just send you an email. You can also set up that two-factor authentication. So when you log in, you have to set that factor, which again will prevent other people from logging into your account. And they also have an option for message encryption, which is an additional layer of protection that makes sure that your message is sent between you and somebody else on Facebook can't be read by anybody else. So that covers just the security settings. What I really want to cover, though, is the privacy settings for Facebook. Because a lot of people use Facebook, but a lot of people don't actually go in and manage these. So there's an option called Manage Who Can See My Stuff, and that's who can see your future posts. Right now, this is an example from my account. I have it set so that friends can see my posts. So by default, if I post anything on Facebook, only my friends can see it. If you find my account, if you're just not a friend or you're just browsing from the internet, you won't be able to see any of those posts because it would be on my friend list or it's just not a public post. If you wanted to, you could, per post, you could set that, but this is the default option. So that way, if I want to set something publicly, I can go in there when I'm setting that post and I'll say, oh, let's show this to everybody. I have some pictures. I don't care. I want everybody to see them. But by default, we'll make sure that only my friends can see what I'm posting. There's also two options here that are off the screen. One of them is review all your posts and things you're tagged in. So this will basically, you click through it and it'll run you through an overline of here's all your posts, here's all the things people have tagged you in, so you can review and make sure that you want that out there. You can also go back with this option and limit who can see things you shared in the past. So this will go through, there's a button here that says let's run through this, and you take and they'll say here's all the things that you've posted that are accessible to friends of your friends or to the public. And you can say I want to lock that down so that's only my friends at this point. So that's because they added in that feature later, so that allows you to go back and fix the privacy settings on some of your older posts. This one is really important. Who can send you friend requests? So I have this set to be friends of friends, which means you have to be a friend with one of my friends before you can ask me to be a friend. And that's important because there's a lot of fake profiles on Facebook that are used to mine information. So if I can be your friend, I have more access to your account and I can get all your information and take it off of Facebook. So there's lots of these bots out there that'll try and become your friend, steal your information. So this makes sure that they at least have to be a friend of one of my other friends, and there can't just be an account that's not a friend of anybody. Now there's still a chance that you'll find that some of your friends will accept those bots, and then you'll see, oh, I'm getting a Facebook request from so-and-so, and there's only friends with one or two of my friends. If you can go look at the account, you'll probably see that it was almost a brand new account. It was recently created. There's probably one picture on it and nothing else on the profile. Those are kind of dead giveaways that it's a fake profile that's being used out there to try and gather information. Another thing that they'll do is they'll actually duplicate. They'll find a legitimate account. I had this happen like my uncle's account. They created a new one, took his picture, and basically pasted it in there with his same name, like a different, one extra character in his name, and they send out the friend request to all his friends. And now you'll see a friend request coming from somebody that you're already friends with because there's a duplicate fake account. So that's another thing to look out for. Again, you'll usually see that those accounts are very recently created and don't have a whole lot of friends associated with them. But this can help you prevent so you get less of those. Then you can also limit who can look you up. So I have it set so if you're my friend and you type in my email address on Facebook, you can find me. But if you're not my friend, you won't be able to find me on my email address. I give out my business card, so I let anybody who goes to Facebook, and if they type in my phone number, they'll be able to find me. But you can lock this down to friends as well. And then this option is you want search engines outside of Facebook to link to your profile. I believe the default is yes. So if you're on Facebook and you Google that person, you'll see their Facebook page pop up. And this says no, so if you Google me, my Facebook page won't pop up. Again, those are options that you can set to kind of try to limit who can find you and what information is shared on Facebook as an example. But a lot of the sites that you would use that are free that have an account like this would have similar settings. So it's just something to go investigate depending on what sites you use. So that covers online accounts, and we covered phishing attacks and malicious websites before that. Now we're going to cover passwords. And if all goes well, the power will stay on this time and we'll be able to watch the video. So before we get into the video, I want to talk about what a strong password is. And strong passwords are passwords. Length is the most important aspect of a strong password, more important than complexity. So 15 characters or longer is the ideal length, and we base that on the fact that if it's 14 characters or less, in some cases Windows will store that password in a slightly less secure way, and it's possible to break that password. But if it's 15 characters or longer, it's essentially unbreakable unless it's just stored completely wrong. But I'll kind of go over why this is in just a moment. But to make this easier, we recommend passphrases instead of passwords. So this is a complex password. It has, the @ sign, it has a number, uppercase, lowercase. It's kind of a pain to type because you have the @ symbol and the 0 right in the middle. Cookies are yummy is a much more secure password, and it's actually natural to type because there's spaces in there and there's not these random symbols in the middle. I find that I can type cookies are yummy just about as fast as I can type this password. Now, you wouldn't want to use cookies are yummy because it's in this presentation and it would be a great one to guess. But you can come up with a short phrase of a couple of words in a similar manner. Capital letter here, spaces are special characters, so it satisfies that requirement, which is nice. And then, if most systems require 3 out of the 4, uppercase, lowercase, special character, and number. In this case, there's no number, but it's still 3 out of the 4, so you're still good. If you want to, you can also put a number in the beginning or at the end to make it easier to type. So I'm going to show you how long it can take to break some of these passwords. When I said there's 14 characters or less with Windows, there's different ways of breaking it. So I'm going to type in that password of capital P @ SSW0RD. It's 8 characters, satisfies most systems require 8 characters. On a standard modern computer, it'd take about 9 hours to crack that password. Every time I add a letter, it's basically adding, even if it's all lowercase, 26 times as long because that's 26 times more combinations to guess. So every time I add a letter, this number is multiplied roughly by 26. So now if I'm at 10 characters, I'm at 6 years. Now it's on a standard computer, so you could send it to the Amazon cloud and spin up 100 computers and have them all attack at once, or 1,000 computers. So we want to go beyond just what a standard computer can do. So if we bump that up to 12 characters, we're looking at 34,000 years. If we go up to 14, 204 million years, and if we go to that recommended value of 15, we're looking at 16 billion years. At this point, it would cost more than $1 billion to spin up enough computers to actually break those, and the amount of time it would take would be too long. So it's unfeasible in terms of how long it would take, as well as how much it would cost to break a password of that strength, which is why we recommend 15 characters. So even if your computer gets compromised, your password store gets compromised, those passwords are stored in a way that they would have to guess for 16 billion years in order to break that password. So that's why and if I go and use that password of cookies are yummy, that's how long it took me to type it in, and we're beyond that 15 character limit. So again, it's anything beyond that it's kind of gravy, but we recommend a password that's a few short phrase, a few words, and that's a much better password. And generally, it's pretty easy to type. And once you get once you get used to it, it kind of becomes a standard. Okay, so dive back in here. So now that we've covered what a strong password is, I also want to make a quick note to never use your Michigan Tech password on another website. And the reason for this is very specific. So let's say my Facebook account is registered to my Michigan Tech email, jrstore@mtu.edu. If I had the same password for Facebook and Facebook got compromised, what happens when a website gets compromised is usually people will take those usernames and they'll figure out what the password is based on compromising Facebook and then put it online. So if my Facebook password gets leaked, somebody's going to grab that and go jrstore@mtu.edu. Let's try and log into Michigan Tech with that username. Let's grab that same password and try and log in. If I'm sharing those same passwords, then they're going to get access to my Michigan Tech account just because I use the same password as I use for my Facebook. So that's why it's important to use a unique password for every site, which can be difficult if you're trying to remember 15 plus characters for each site you visit. So we do recommend a password manager, which I'll cover how that works in just a minute. But before we do that, cross my fingers the power's not going to go out this time. Last time we hit play and all the lights went out. So let's go ahead and take a look at this video that we play for all new employees during their orientation. Right after the ad. This is why YouTube is. So while that's comical, it illustrates a few key points. One is please do not share your password with anybody. It's unique to your account. We use that to identify the activity on your account, and we don't want anybody else having your password. IT employees will not ask you for your password. If it ever comes down to it, we can reset your password. So if you get a phone call that says, I'm so-and-so from IT and trying to get your password, it's a scam, please let us know. That's an example of a social engineering attack. You also may notice in this video that some people at first when they ask for your password, they say, no, I can't do that. And then after asking them a few more questions, they give up their password. That's a common technique that attackers use when they have you on the phone. They'll try and build up a sense of trust and rapport, and then eventually they're going to try and get to the point where they either get you to go to a website, get you to log into something so you can access your computer, or get your password out of you. So be wary, especially if you get an unexpected call or email. So going back to passwords and how to store them, like I said, you should use a unique password for every website. That password should ideally be 15 characters or longer. A password manager can greatly help you store, manage, create those passwords. So we recommend LastPass. LastPass is a free tool that IT supports. You can go to the Chrome extension store and add it into your Chrome browser for free. You just have to sign up for an account. And what you do with LastPass is when you create an account, you'll set one master password. So that's like the password to your password vault. It's one password that gives you access to all the other ones. So you'd want a strong password for that. And then optionally, you can turn on the multi-factor authentication to protect that password vault. So that way you need your phone or whatever to unlock it. And then once you have the account, LastPass can automatically, it's kind of similar to like when your browser asks you, hey, do you want to save this password? You could save in your browser, but those aren't saved securely, and it's easy for a malicious site to try and fake your browser into giving up all of your passwords. So this is a more secure method of storing those passwords. And when you go to a new site and say you create an account for Facebook, it'll say, hey, do you want me to generate a password for you? 95% of my passwords, I don't know what they are. They're random, they're complex. Every time I go to the site, the password manager enters them for me. I never have to type them. So it's easier for me to know that everything's secure, everything's unique, it's a strong password, and I never have to remember what it is. If worse comes to worse and you locked yourself out or something, you can always reset that password anyway. Almost every single online account allows you to reset your password just based on your email address. So we recommend using LastPass. But there's other password managers. You can also get the LastPass app for your phone, so you can have all your passwords ready to go on your phone. I believe that's an extra, comes up to be like $1 a month for the premium version. You can still log into the website on your phone if you want to copy and paste, but if you want it to automatically fill into your apps, there's that option. They may have made that free. Originally, it was a premium version when I first signed up for it.
2 devices, so your phone and your computer, your phone and your tablet, or your tablet and your computer.
Yep, so feel free to reach out to IT. We can get it set up for you. We can walk you through it, help you get an account, or you can try it out yourself. Just go to the Chrome store, add it, or go to lastpass.com. So with that note, that's we covered phishing attacks, we covered malicious websites, covered how to secure your online accounts, and how to securely manage passwords. The last thing we have to cover is how to secure your devices. I'm going to do a demo of this. But before I do the demo, I just kind of want to go through and explain why I'm doing what I'm doing. So the first thing, this can go for both like Windows home computers, but it can also go towards your phone, your iPhone or Android. So one is to update your device as soon as possible to patch security vulnerabilities. So let's say I'm an attacker and I find that there's a security bug in Internet Explorer. And I might report that to Microsoft, or I might post on the internet, hey, I found this bug. Then Microsoft will see that bug report, and eventually they'll create an update, and when you download the update, and the update will fix that bug. In the meantime, until Microsoft releases that update, that bug is out there, and there's nothing anybody can do to really stop it from being used. In that case, it's called a zero-day bug. I'll talk more about that in just a minute. But basically, those updates to your system are not only giving you the latest features and bug fixes, but they're also fixing security holes that are on your system. So by updating, if you're an iPhone user and your phone says, hey, do you want to update the latest version of iOS, please do so, because it's going to patch a bunch of security vulnerabilities in your phone. Now, generally speaking, the iPhone, I'm not sure how it works with Droid, but with iPhone, you can't automatically update. You can tell it to, it'll ask you to tell it to like do it overnight or something like that. But for every update, you have to hit OK. With the iPhone, you can, though, have it automatically update your apps. So we recommend doing that. Windows is the exact opposite, where you can tell it to automatically update my system, but it won't automatically update your apps. So it's important to update both. Now, one way, and even in Windows Update, you can tell it to optionally install updates for Microsoft products, so it'll install like updates for Office Microsoft Word, but it still won't, Microsoft will never update like Firefox, Chrome, Adobe Reader, any product that's not a Microsoft product. So in order to do that, you would use there's tools called Midnight, which is midnight.com, or Flexera's PCI. So in the example of Adobe Reader, if there's a bug in Adobe Reader, I could send you a malicious PDF. If you don't have the latest update, that when you open that PDF, it could take over your system and give that access to your system over to me. So the only way to fix that is to make sure Adobe Reader keeps getting up to date. And you might be used to seeing pop-ups of, hey, Flash needs to be updated, or Adobe Reader needs to be updated, or Java needs to be updated. You can do them all manually, or you can have a tool manage all those for you and make sure that you're automatically up to date. So the PSI tool does that by scanning your system and applying updates automatically for you. Midnight is a tool that you can run on demand to do it, or you can put it in startup so it runs every time the computer starts up. So like I do IT work for my grandparents. I put Midnight in their startup folder. Every time their computer starts up, it updates all their programs for them, and that way that helps them stay secure online. And Windows automatically do the updates. So keeping your devices up to date protects the security bugs, or fixes them. Also run an antivirus. Starting with Windows 7, they started incorporating an antivirus into Windows. So you might not need an additional antivirus. Definitely don't run two antiviruses unless one of them is on demand. And so what happens is every time when you have an antivirus running and you download a file, it scans that file to make sure it's safe. You have 2 or 3 antiviruses that scan. Each one has to scan before you can actually access the file, and that ends up slowing down your system significantly. What you can do is you can use the built-in antivirus, make sure it's turned on, or get a third-party one for free. You don't need to pay for it. And then you can set up a second scanner, such as like Malwarebytes, and then you run that only if your system is slow or acting goofy. That way you say, well, something's not right here. Let me run it. Let me run our on-demand scan. And I'll show you how to check the material antivirus for in just a second. And then this mainly goes for computers. Generally, you wouldn't run an antivirus on your phone. There are some antivirus for Droid, but there's limited signatures and there's limited malware. So computers, Windows computers specifically, are the #1 target for mass malware because almost everybody in every business runs Windows. And antivirus is, I don't recommend paying for antivirus ever because the amount of malware that's coming out is, there's so much malware coming out that antivirus vendors can't keep up. No one antivirus will keep you 100% safe, but they all do a pretty good job of catching a lot of the common malware that's out there. So it's really, it's one layer, but really keeping your device up to date and doing some of these other things can help protect you more so than antivirus might. So using a strong password or passcode is also something you can do to protect your device. If you're on a Windows computer, again, 15 characters or more is ideal, but at least 10. If you're on a phone where it's maybe like a PIN, you recommend at least a 6-digit PIN, not a 4-digit PIN. 4-digit PIN is only 10,000 numbers. Depending on how you connect it, if you connect it to a computer, you might be able to guess all 10,000 numbers relatively quickly, unless there's something that locks the account or locks the phone. There's certain ways around that too. And then browse cautiously. Again, minimize surfing. Try to stick to sites you know and trust. Use those bookmarks. You can also use ad blocking software to prevent malicious ads from attacking your computer. So some ads can actually attack your computer just from you visiting the page the ads are on. So you see ads on the side, and those could actually be trying to attack your computer just from you visiting the page. Those are the more sophisticated ones. Some of the less sophisticated ones, you actually have to click on the ad before it'll try and attack you. But there are malicious ads out there. It's called malvertising. And so you can install an ad blocker such as AdBlock Plus or uBlock Origin. I'll show you those in just a minute. You can get those right from the Chrome store as well, same place you get LastPass. I'll show you how to install all of those, and it only takes a couple seconds. And the last thing is for, again, this is just for Windows. Most of these are just for Windows other than the device updates, is to install Microsoft's EMET. This is a tool that, explaining how it works is beyond the scope of this talk, but basically it inserts itself in between your programs to protect against certain techniques that are used when you don't have an update available. So let's say there's that Internet Explorer bug that's out there. Microsoft hasn't released an update yet. EMET actually has some protection that can look for certain techniques that would be seen if you're trying to exploit that bug, and it can actually block those. It doesn't slow down your computer. It's very easy to install, and that can give you protection for when you haven't installed the update yet or there's no update available. So by combining updating your system with the zero-day protection and antivirus, you're really getting a more comprehensive security posture versus just having an antivirus.
And we can install some of these tools on our work computer?
Yeah.
Just to an old computer?
Yeah, this one you wouldn't be able to install at work without admin rights.
Okay.
It's something that I'm looking to get rolled out for the next school year. I'm working with our Windows team to do that. But the ad blocking software, the last, and the password manager, those you could install. Some of the third-party stuff for managing that, we push out Chrome updates and that kind of thing. So doing this and this would be for your home computer. So I'll show you that here, and we'll go through and do a demo.
4 minutes.
Got about 4 minutes? Okay, we can race through it. So, and this should be good because it should show you that we can lock it down within 4 minutes. So the first bullet here is ensure Windows is configured for automatic updates. So you open up the Start menu, go to Windows Update, start typing Windows Update. There it is. Click on that. Here's our Windows Update setting. You can go in here to Change Settings. And you will see that in this case, it's set to download the updates, but don't install them until I say. Go in here and tell it to install updates automatically. It will automatically download them and install them. And then down here, give me updates for Microsoft products and check for optional Microsoft software. This will make sure that if we have Microsoft Word, Office, those products will get updated as well. So just by doing that, we've automatically done the updates for Microsoft. We control when we want to do the updates. So that's why the laptop is set to download them and not quit install. So that's how we check for automatic updates. You can use Ninite to automatically update programs. So for that one, I'm going to open up a new tab. Let's see if I can move this. I'm going to go to ninite.com. And what you could do here is choose the programs that you want to install or update. So I use this anytime I set up a new computer. I'm going to do Chrome. I'll do Firefox. Maybe I want Malwarebytes for an on-demand scanner. I want iTunes. Go in here and I can tell it to download. And it'll give me a program. Now what I can do is I'm just going to quickly bounce to this folder. Here's that program. If I run this, it'll install all those programs. If I run it a week later and there's an update, it'll update all those programs. So you could put it on your desktop and just run it whenever you want, or you could copy this and you could go in here to your startup folder, and if you paste it in that startup folder, it'll run every time you start up your computer. So the first thing you see when you log in will be, hey, Ninite wants to run and update your programs. It'll go through and update all of them. This is what I set up for any of the home computers that I support. Again, you can just run it on demand. So I'm running out of time here, but I'm going to try and cover these other ones really quick. To make sure your built-in antivirus is turned on, you'd first search for Windows Defender. Let it pop up. In this case, it says Windows Defender is turned off, but there's 2 antiviruses that Microsoft could potentially run. The other one is Security Essentials. So I'm going to check the other one. I bet you'll find that this one is on. So looking for the 2, Windows Defender, Security Essentials. This is set up to do a scan at 2 a.m. on Sundays, and it's on with real-time protection, which means it's going to download it, scan everything I download. So the antivirus is turned on. Now I'm not going to install Malwarebytes because I'm running out of time, but in that Ninite download, Malwarebytes was one of the options I checked. If I would have installed it, I could just open it up and do an on-demand scan with it. And the last thing I want to show you is how to install the ad blocker and LastPass. So if I go into more tools and extensions in Chrome, or just search for the extension store, I can go to get more extensions, and I can type in LastPass. You can do this at work. Add to Chrome, and now the LastPass plugin will install up here. And the first thing, it'll pop me to a LastPass page, which says, hey, here you can create a new account. So it says it's down here. It's adding to Chrome. Once it's done, it should pop up here. It's going a little bit slow. While I'm waiting for that, I can also type in ad block. Yeah. So there it did. It's over here. If I have a LastPass account, I can just log in. If not, it's giving me the page to create my account. You can also go over here to ad block, type in ad block plus. I could add that to Chrome, and it would automatically be turned on. I'll do that. Sure, go ahead and add. And there's also another one that I like called uBlock. Ad block is now turned on. Now any site I go to, I can see ad block is enabled. And if some sites complain and say, hey, you have an ad blocker, will you please turn that off? You just go here and check this box, and now it's turned off for this site. And you can do that for each site. But that'll automatically block your ads. Same thing with this uBlock Origin. You can add that into Chrome if you want as well. It's just a second ad blocker. I actually run both of them. So that's about all the time I have for today. Just really briefly, if you wanted to install that other program called Emet, you go to Emet. The latest version is 5.52, so I'm just going to type in Emet 5.52 download. So pull me up to Microsoft's page. I would hit download. It's going to pop up in the bottom, and all you do is click on this when it's done, and it's a next, next, next finish type thing. And when it's done, you can hit, let me see if I can go just a minute or two over here, I'll show you. You go through here, you next, 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 finish, and when you're done, I'm not going to actually install it because I don't have to install it, and they don't like installing software on these computers. And all you have to do is hit maximum security settings and reboot your computer, and it's done. So that's another option that's available for you. And just in that amount of time, so that was 5 minutes. I could probably done the whole thing if I would have showed it to you in 6 or 7 or 8. But within 10 minutes, you can check all those things and you put your computer significantly in a better posture. I'd say if there's one thing, the biggest thing would be running the updates and doing like something like Night or Flexera. So with that said, I'm out of time. Does anybody have any questions?
Sorry to cut everybody off.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't know that was kind of like a fire hose of information. Yep, so if you have any questions, you can see me afterwards, or you can email me. I should send you my, just really quickly here, here's my contact information. So jrstore@mtu.edu. And my office number is on there as well. There's business cards on the table here if you want to grab one, or you can always reach out to it-help@mtu.edu. So feel free to reach out to me. But I've been told that when we send out the evaluations, I'll be able to send you my slides, and potentially if the recording's ready, I'll send you the recording as well. But at very least, I can send you a link to the slides so you can go back and get any of this information if you need it. So if there's no questions, thanks for showing up.
You can watch the recording in the slow motion if you want.